All right, now that we're in the car, we're going to work on putting an address in. I'm going to show you two different ways to do it. The first way I'm going to show you is by voice. Then after that, we'll work on putting it in manually, meaning typing it in or using the wheel. So the first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to press the voice command button that's on the steering wheel. When you press this button, if the tutorial mode comes on and she starts to give you instructions such as please say one of the following commands, you can always interrupt her by pressing the button again. Me personally, I recommend turning off the voice prompt. It just allows you to have a more fluid interaction with the car. You can do that by going into settings, and I'll talk about that in a later video. So to start this off, you press the bottom button on the left-hand side of the steering wheel, which is the voice command button. After that, the screen will change. You'll need to listen for the car to beep. If you start talking too quickly, you're going to cut the front part of your voice command off, and it's not going to either pick up what you've said or it's going to take the wrong command. So the first thing that you will do, like I said, is choose your category. They are navigation, audio, climate control, phone call. There's others in the car. If you look at the screen while you're doing this and kind of glance at it, anything that's lit up in yellow is a voice command. So in this instance, I'm going to do navigation. It will go to the next screen. I can either say the corresponding number or the word, meaning in this case, address or the corresponding number is 1. After that, it goes to the next screen. I wait for the beep. I give it the entire address without the zip code. Once it picks it up, I go to the next screen and I say either 1 or set as destination. That will take me exactly where I told it to go. Now, if on the screen before that, if it didn't quite hear you, or maybe there's a conflicting match, maybe you say Nashville, Tennessee, and it picks up Bashville for some strange reason, it may ask you to choose the corresponding number for the city that you want. So it's a learning system. The more you use it, the better it will get with your voice. You don't necessarily have to teach it or go through a tutorial mode, but the more you use it, the better it will get. So let's go through this real quick. So I'm going to press the button, start the process. It will go along. I don't have to press the button more than once, but I do have to listen for the beeps. Navigation, address, 123 Main Street, Nashville, Tennessee. And once again, you don't want to say this too fast, too slow. You want to talk in a normal tone of voice. You don't have to look up at the microphone. You can look normal like you're driving down the road. So in this case, it picked everything up. Set as destination. And away you go. While she's talking, here's another little tip. You can use the volume control on the dash or on the steering wheel to turn her up or down. If you're using the volume and she stops talking, you're back to controlling the radio. So just remember, use these controls while she's mid-sentence, or you can use the controls over here, which if you decide that you will change your mind and maybe you want to go to a different place, or maybe you just don't want to go there at all, to cancel the route out, unfortunately there is no voice command to do it. You have to reach over, press menu, roll the wheel to the left to cancel route, and hit enter. Then you're back on your own. You're just driving wherever you want to go. Let's also work on doing this by typing it in, which to me is a little bit longer of a process, but some people don't like to talk to the car. In order for this to work, you have to be stationary. The car can't be in drive, it can't be in motion. The functions are grayed out. It doesn't matter who's sitting in the passenger seat, they can't do it either. There are some other functions that you can use while you're in motion. I'll also cover those in a different video. So to start this off, I want to make sure that I have the navigation screen pulled up. So I'm going to press the nav button. Then after that, I'm going to press menu. The very first option that's highlighted is address. So I'm going to hit enter on the wheel. Now, here's a couple tips that I think are handy when using the system by typing it in. If you're staying in state, like right now we're in Tennessee, I don't need to worry about changing the state because it knows exactly where I'm sitting. But if I'm going to Alabama, if I'm going to Florida, California, the first thing I'm going to do is change the state. Another tip is if you're staying fairly close to where you're at, I typically skip city because it takes into account exactly where I'm sitting. In this case, it knows that I'm sitting in Brentwood, Tennessee. So if I'm staying in Brentwood, Franklin, Murfreesboro, Nashville, somewhere close to Middle Tennessee, I'm going to skip city because once I put the street in, it's going to find the closest street with that name to my location. So in this instance, we're going to use Main Street, and I'm going to do that on purpose to kind of show you how it lists out the cities. So, like I said, in this case, I'm going to start with street. So I roll down to street, I hit enter, I start typing it in, and if you notice, it will eliminate letters as I type, because it can only be a certain combination of letters. There's only a certain street that will match what you're typing in. So when I type in Main and I get done, I don't have to put street, road, avenue, boulevard, place, any of those identifiers. All I do is actually put the name of the street itself in. So I type in Main and then I hit OK. This is a little counterintuitive of how you usually do an address. Normally you want to start with the number 123, but in this case you actually start with the street name. You'll put the number in after the fact. So I typed in Main, the screen will change. It's just going to make me confirm that that's what I want. So yes, I want Main. I hit next. It goes to the next screen. Now if you notice, it wants the street number. So I do 1, 2, 3. Oops. 1, 2, 3. And also, if you notice in the top corner up here, it will give you the available numbers that you can type in. If there's not a 123 Main Street that's available on the map because that address doesn't exist, it won't let you type it in. So I put it 123, I hit OK. It goes to the next screen. Now this is what I was talking about, how it will find the closest city to where we're at. Since we're in Brentwood, Franklin's right down the street from us, there's obviously not a Main Street in Brentwood or it would be listed. So if you notice, it goes Franklin, then Nashville, then Smyrna, then Eagleville. So it's just taking my location into account and it's just spreading out from there. So if I was going to Memphis and I put in 123 Main Street, I've got to go through every single city between here and there. Or if you're just staying local, skip city, save yourself some time. We're going to choose Nashville again. I hit enter on the wheel. Options come up, set as destination, view routes, search nearby, save as address book. I didn't cover those when I was doing the voice tutorial, but I'll talk about them a little bit now. Set as destination just means you're going to head there right away. View routes will show you 3 different ways to get there, starting with the fastest. Search nearby is if you need to find basically a point of interest near the address that you put in. So if I need to find a hotel, a restaurant, a gas station, an ATM, a bank, a hospital, golf course near 123 Main Street, that's what search nearby will do for me. Or save to address book. If it's a location that you go to often, you can save it to the address book. You'll be able to name it in there. You actually even have categories. You can use personal or business for your addresses. Also to note, it will not take the addresses out of your phone book. So if your phone is paired and you're thinking that it's just going to pull your whole address book out and put it in the navigation, it's not going to do that. So if you have a list of addresses that you want to save, you'll have to enter them all in and then save them to the address book. So we're going to hit set as destination. She's going to start calculating the route.
Proceed to the highlighted route. Then the route guidance will start.
And then if you notice on the screen, it's about 17 miles away, 17 minutes to get there. The blue line is the route that I will follow. When I get close to my turns, the screen will basically split in half and it will show me my next turn or my next exit that I need to take. Also, on the MID right here between the speedometer and the tach, it will show me where my next turn is. So for example, if it's a left turn, it may say 600 feet and have an arrow to the left. And then once again, to cancel that out, I hit cancel route, but that's only if I decide I don't want to go there. Once I get to my destination, it will say that I've arrived. It'll cancel itself out on its own. Another thing to keep in mind, maybe you're going on a long trip. Maybe you've been in the car for 3 hours and you've got 6 hours to go. When you stop the car to go in to eat or go to the gas station, when you get back in the car, it will ask if you want to continue to your route. So you don't actually have to manually input the address in again. It will prompt you to do that. So hopefully these tips and tricks help. The navigation, I think, is very intuitive once you do it a few times and get used to the flow of it. A couple things to remember: listen for the beep, don't talk too quickly, talk in a normal tone of voice. You don't have to yell at it, you don't have to talk up to the microphone, you don't need to yell at the steering wheel. It'll pick up your tone of voice. The whatever's on the screen that's in yellow is something that you can say, whether it's the number or the corresponding word. There's not a wrong way to do it. It's just whichever way you find more convenient. Thanks for tuning in to this tutorial video on GaryForceAcura.com. You can find more helpful videos and training on the Technology Center page. Once again, GaryForceAcura.com.